Welcome, 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 welcome back to my channel. So I've decided to do this video called Why I Was Attracted to a Narcissist. And the reason being is because I finally figured it out. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out to listen and to hear, because I think I bring a I think I bring a different perspective, right? As you all know, as a disclaimer, I'm only an expert of my life. I am on this journey of learning, growing, discovering, right? So I don't know everything. I'm not a psychologist yet. However, I'm only an expert of my life. That's it. So I just wanted to kind of clear the air, right? So I decided to talk about why I was attracted to a narcissist. And this was a relationship I had been in for 7 years. And it's been off and on. I never really understood or come to learn, or I never knew what was really going on. But the reason why I was a narcissist, I'm a narcissist. Ooh. The reason why I was attracted to a narcissist, and after learning about narcissistic behavior, what it is that what is their drive? What is it that they want? What is it that they seek? They are simply nothing but takers. They like to take. They love to feed on people who are givers. I'm a giver. I'm going to keep giving. I love giving. I love, giving value. However, there are boundaries, of course, that are there. And at the same time, because I understand how life works, and I understand that although we may be in a relationship, okay, we're still individuals. You are still your own person who's evolving, growing, learning. You have to go through your go through, which is completely separate from me. And it's the same thing. I have to, I'm an individual. I'm learning and growing and developing and evolving, and I have to go through my go through too, which is not going to be the same as yours. So I'm going to put it in this type of perspective. Narcissistic people, they feed on people who are givers. And because we're feeding it, we're feeding it, right? People who are givers are constantly feeding. We're giving. They're eating. The narcissistic people are eating. Meanwhile, the minute you stop feeding, all hell begins to break loose. You got the arguments, the breakups, the whatever you want to call it that are happening. I know, at least with my experience, I didn't come to realize this until here recently. My relationship pretty much ended when I decided to put my foot down. He didn't have any children. Well, let me just say this. Just because you're a narcissist, or you have narcissistic behaviors or character, or you're a narcissist, what have you, it does not devalue the fact that you are an amazing, incredible human being, right? It's just, so we're not going to take that away. And I am going to say amazing, beautiful, incredible. However, it just wasn't a good fit for me. But then again, we're going to talk about that too. So in my relationship with this particular individual, he's never been married, no children, just been focused on his career, made 6 figures. Life looks great. Very charming, knew what to say in the beginning, because they trying to catch you, girl. They trying to catch you. So, everything is good in the beginning, However, what I did notice in the beginning was the lack for consideration. And there was a lack of thinking about the other person, how they may feel, what they may want to do, because it was all about him, what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it, how it was going to be. And me being the giver that I am, I kind of allowed that behavior to take place. You got to live and learn. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not. I'm just here. I'm here. I'm all in. If this is what you want to do, okay, cool. I mean, it's not going to change me. It's not going to alter, you know what I mean? So that's what I did. And I would say I basically hands down spoiled him. And what I mean by that is I didn't spoil him by buying him lavish things or buying him anything, because one of the many things that I did admire about him is the fact that he acknowledged that, with me having 2 children, he never, at least whenever him and I were together, he never had me come out my pocket. I didn't even when I offered, hey, listen, I got it. No, he would say, no, you need your money. Use that for the boys. And so that right there, apparently that meant a lot, that, he at least thought about it, but it was only when him and I were together, and it were under the conditions of what he wanted to do, right? Although I would make suggestions, and then I would be like, well, I'm not paying for it. So, I mean, it just didn't bother me. You know what I mean? But that's how we are as givers. It's just certain things just don't bother us. We're okay with it. I mean, if it's not putting us in harm's way, if it's not, but then it becomes a problem when the narcissist begins to criticize in a way to where it's coming from a place of devaluing you. And in his mind, he was the prize. I wasn't the prize. He was the prize because he was college educated. He was the prize because he made a 6-figure income. He was the prize because he owned his own place. He's driving a luxury vehicle. He's the prize because he has the money. He had more money than me. You know what I mean? He showed me his checking and savings account where he's got almost $100,000 in it. Meanwhile, I'm over here looking at my account. Okay. Okay. So in a way, it was there are some, there were some good things about being in that relationship. In the fact that, although he was very, very selfish, wasn't considerate at all. I'm not going to say wasn't considerate at all. It's just that when him and I were together, that was like me not having to come out my pocket, but then it was an ego thing, a pride thing too. So, but I come to discover, because when I would have these conversations with my girlfriends about him and I, particularly him, one of the questions that really, really came up was like, okay, Gail, listen. We get that he's like that, But then the question then becomes, what is it about you? What is it about you that keeps you wanting to be in this relationship, or keeps you, holding on to this relationship? We know that it's not emotionally healthy. The emotional support wasn't there. And I've learned why. Because narcissist people, they have no empathy whatsoever. No empathy. He didn't have not 1 ounce of empathy. And having to recently go through me having to bury my grandfather, who was just like my father, and even having to care for him his last couple of years. The first person that I thought to kind of reach out and kind of look for that comfort, or look for the, that shoulder to kind of like cry on, was him. And so this is what really, really turned the light bulb on for me. There was a time where, I was there for him during his father's passing. And I'm on the phone with him. He didn't want me to come to the place, but when I tell you I was on the phone with him from early morning, late at night, carrying over into the next day, I was there. And he's asking me questions. I was there. I'm supporting him through it all. And so when I reached out to him, he didn't answer the phone or respond. So I sent him a respectful text, bringing it to his awareness that, this is what's going on. And, it's just unfortunate that you don't want to be there. His response was that I should have went ahead and just made that clear in the text from the beginning, because we have been, exchanging, messages back and forth. Me basically letting him know that I just don't, as much as I love you and as much as I care about you, being in a relationship with you is not healthy for me, nor will it be healthy for you. So he was trying to find a way for us to get back to where we were. And I just wasn't trying to go there. But anyway, that was his excuse. So he immediately calls me, and he's, and I'm like, you know what? I was there for you when your father passed away. And when I start seeing it was a tit for tat, that basically he was talking to me that day simply because he remembered how I was there for him, but it was only for that day. The next day, he just sent me a text like, "Are you doing better?" That's when the light bulb hit. It said, this Negro, this man, okay, has no empathy. And again, this is why I say you can't expect to receive something from a person that just don't have it to give. They are only going to give you what they have, right? If you're looking for love, compassion, and understanding, if that person don't have it, they're not going to give it to you. If you're looking for the emotional support, if you're looking for the partnership, if they don't have it, they can't give it. This is why, I say you just the whole idea of expectations it's so freaking unrealistic, because you're expecting something from someone that just don't have it. Meanwhile, you going back and forth with this mess. And now I see why we had so many breakups during a 7-year relationship. Mostly that was coming from him. Surprisingly, he was the one that kept breaking up with me. The first week of dating, he broke up with me. So it just goes to show you that, and trust me, even if I were to timeline this, pinpoint everything, and say X, Y, and Z, he may within himself realize that, oh snap, I am this way, and just won't admit it. And each time that he did break up with me, and I'm just standing there like, come on, I know, baby. Come on. Because I understand relationships. I understand how life works. I understand that you didn't know no better, because it didn't make any sense. Why would you break up with me? It didn't make any sense. The reason that you broke up with me didn't even make any sense. So, and again, this is why I say I've spoiled him. I've allowed him to just be him, which is the most, and each time, see, this is why you just gotta let people be. Because when you start putting restrictions and you start putting restrictions, they gotta do this, you gotta do that. They don't want to come back to you. But when you let people be who they be, they always say when you let it go, if it's meant, it's gonna come back. He always came back. It's just that when I decided to be the one to break up, that was a problem. Feelings got hurt. It wasn't expected. Oh, snap, the world just crumbled, okay? So after going through that recent experience with looking for the emotional support, the comfort, the conversation, during my grandfather's passing, after that, I've came to a place of closure. I've come to a place of closure. And the reason why I've come to a place of closure is because I know now. See, we're going to always, whenever we break up in relationships, the question that's going to be wondering, okay, did I do everything I was supposed to do? What happened? How did I break up? 7 years is a long time. 7 years. And some people would agree that it was just a waste of time. Some people would agree that it wasn't a waste of time. In those 7 years, I've learned so much about me. In that 7-year period, I've learned so much about me. And I come to learn what it is that I need from my companion. When you're in these relationships, people are always concentrated on that person. Your focal point is always on that person. What he ain't doing, what she ain't doing, what he should have did, and what she should. It's like you just focused on that. And we lose sight of the real person that we need to focus on, which is ourself. So we lose sight of that. And the minute we lose sight of that, we lose sight of who we are. And once we lose sight of who we are, it's just free game. It's like, okay, anything and everything is bound to take place. We're not going to know why. We're not going to know how. It's just going to get there. So I've come to learn more about my personality and what I need from that companion. And it's not the narcissist. And I've also learned why I was like so into this narcissist person, because he was feeding off of me. I was lit, and I love to feed. When I cook, I love to feed people. So, it was not that it was giving to the point of depletion, because again, I had boundaries in place. There were certain things like, dude, I'm not your wife. I'm not gonna be doing that. I've got kids. I have children. I'm a mother. I'm not doing that. So although I did have boundaries, and I think that was having those boundaries in place kept me from allowing this individual to deplete me. It kept him from depleting me, because that's what narcissists do. They'll keep taking. They'll keep taking until you just don't have it in you anymore to give. And then they go on to their next victim. And I do remember saying, like, back in the early part of us dating, I used to tell him, like, dude, I'm not an experiment. I'm not something that you just observe, that you do trials and tests with, and then you just go looking for that's just not who I am. I don't do that. And if that's what you want to do, it's okay. It's just not okay with me. So I did have a hunch. I did see it, but because I didn't know exactly what it was, I couldn't really, like, sit on it. I didn't have the chair to sit on. I was just still standing up trying to, look for that chair, which was looking for the why. Why was I attracted to this guy? So with that being said, if you are a giver like me, and which is so crazy because my relationship before him, which I was married, my ex-husband, he wasn't a narcissist at all. He was a giver. He was a giver, wasn't a narcissist. So this was like something that I've experienced for the first time. And then, my latest question being is, okay, because I am a giver, is being with a narcissist a good fit? Because they say opposite attract. Being with a narcissist, is it a good fit? Because we're givers. But then the answer to that question is, well, it can't be a good fit, because if it were a good fit, we wouldn't have had so many breakups. We would have a clear understanding. We would have clarity regarding our relationship, regarding our personality mixes, right? But I've learned so much about myself. I know what it is that I need in my companion. I know now. So if you find yourself in the same situation as me, feel free to comment below. Although it may not be the exact same thing, but I don't know what it is. It's like there's a rise. I've come to, I've came across a couple of people who are optimistic like me, who are positive, that understands life, that is spiritually grounded, who are just naturally givers, right? It's just natural. It's something that, I understand how life works. And these same people have gone through similar experience being with a narcissist. I don't think that they figured it out why. Like it's a feeding thing, They feed off of givers. And the minute you stop feeding them, it's just like with anybody. When you get hungry, you get mad. Then you become hangry, okay? So it's the same thing. And the minute you put your foot down, you like, nope. Explosion. So hopefully this kind of helps you out with understanding, of the narcissist type, and why people like me who are givers kind of like hold on to things like this, you know. So hopefully I explained that right. I didn't write none of this. All of this stuff. All of this stuff is just straight off the top. I didn't write any of this stuff down in order. You know, I'm having a conversation with you like I would have a conversation with my girlfriend. But yeah, hopefully this helps, sharing my perspective at least on it, how I see it, how I view it, my experience, what had happened with me. Again, those are the people that's breaking up with you. And they're always looking for the next victim. Always. And I use the word victim because some kind of way, I really do believe that people who've been victimized, they just subconsciously, I don't even think that they're aware. And then again, some people may be. They just naturally victimize other people. So it's so unfortunate. There's a lot of trauma. I know with my experience, as I began to kind of, I told you I wasn't a psychologist yet, but as I began to peel the onion, I began to learn. It's like it's like I was peeling a little bit here, peeling a little bit, because you can't be peeling, because then it's like, you know, but as I began to peel here and peel there, I began to understand that there's some trauma, childhood trauma that had taken place that he hasn't really acknowledged. And some of that childhood trauma, it was kind of projecting off on me. Girl, it would take all day. It would take all day for me to explain like everything in that 7-year period. It may even be my next book. Who knows? I don't know. If he tell me to write a book about that, then I have to. But hopefully this helped. I didn't mean to keep going on and on. We had 27 minutes, 28 minutes. But yeah, the whole narcissist thing, the behavior. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully it brought a different insight, a different perspective. Hopefully it answered your question, because I no longer ask the questions anymore. I don't wonder why anymore because I've answered it. I figured it out. And when for some reason, we as women, we want to be able to solve the problem. And for as long as that problem hasn't been solved, the questions will always be there. Why? What happened? We're going to constantly reflect. We're going to constantly want to revisit, right? But I'm good. I'm good now. Case has been closed. So hopefully this helped. Make sure you like, comment. Remember, my community, it's welcome. I welcome all comments, opinions, because again, I don't know everything. I'm open to learning. I'm open to, hearing what your thoughts are and reading what your thoughts are and really, looking at it from a different lens. I love you. I love you. I love you. Make sure you continue to use what you have today to empower tomorrow. Again, subscribe to my channel. Let me know how I'm doing. Am I doing okay?